The real reason you never finish anything is not because you're lazy. So then what is it? I'm sure you've had a moment when you were scrolling on social media or binge watching another show when you suddenly had a realization. Why do I keep doing this? Potentially followed by ideas and plans and how are you going to become more productive starting tomorrow? But I think the real answer is not what you think. It's not a morning routine problem, it's not a discipline problem, it's a design problem. And that difference matters more than I realized. Now, if you're a human who participates in living, I know that's a low bar, you have many priorities competing for your time and even more desires that are waiting for you in the backlog. For me, that looks like going to work, spending time with my girlfriend, staying in shape, filming, editing these videos for YouTube, working on side projects, gaming, shopping, and doing more boring chores. All of this can get pretty overwhelming, especially if you decide to be hyper productive in every facet of your life. And the key issue here is that even the smallest hiccup can throw you off your rhythm and negate all the progress that you've made so far. For example, I recently went on a hike with work colleagues. It was a good time, we skipped work, but as soon as I came home, I realized that I did not plan for it properly. I was tired, I was overeating to compensate for the calories that I lost during the day, and decided that I'm gonna skip gym the next morning because I already got some exercise in the woods. Of course, I didn't stop there, because suddenly my brain decided that I'm on vacation, or like I've achieved something meaningful, and I deserve to skip working on my side projects and just sit and play Minecraft. One hike, not a crisis, not a burnout, just a regular life event that caused the whole system to fall apart. My first instinct was, I need more discipline. But let me show you why that instinct is wrong. Earlier this year, I tried switching to a morning gym, and on paper it sounded perfect. Wake up early, train before work, get ahead of everyone. But here's what actually happened. Morning gym meant that I had to prepare my breakfast and lunch the night before. That ate into my evening. And by the time I was done, I had no energy or desire to actually work on anything that mattered to me outside of work. I was waking up earlier, training harder, meal prepping like a machine. So from the outside, it looked like I was super disciplined. But actually, I was getting less things done. That's when I realized the problem was never the effort. The problem was that I was designing my routine for a version of myself that doesn't exist. The version with unlimited energy, no friction, and unlimited time. So how can this be fixed? It started with a question that feels almost lazy. What is the smallest version of this that still counts? I know this sounds counterintuitive, especially if you're in the mood to plan your perfect routine. You don't want to lower the bar, you want to raise it. You want a dramatic comeback. But that dramatic comeback is usually the beginning of the next cycle. You go hard, you burn out, feel guilty, and wait for the motivation to come back. And the cycle repeats. The minimum version does something different. It keeps the routine alive between the bursts. The gym doesn't have to be a perfect training program. Maybe it just means showing up. A YouTube video doesn't have to be finished in one session. It just needs to have a spot in the week. A side project doesn't have to be a full feature tonight. It just has to be picking up where you left off and adding a small improvement. You're creating a floor, a solid foundation that you can come back to after a bad day, so that one skipped gym session doesn't become into a lost month. But even the minimum version falls apart if you have to decide to do it every day. Because if you're asking yourself, should I do this challenging thing instead of scrolling YouTube, your brain will certainly find at least one reason to not do it. Every time you have to decide again, you're giving a chance to your tired self to escape. So how to avoid this, you ask? For me, it's the fact that my gym is in the same building that I work at. So it's silly not to go. Or setting specific days for scripting and filming my videos. I don't have to decide if I'm going to do it, I just know that it has to happen. None of this is dramatic, and that's the point. Good discipline and discipline that actually works is boring and repetitive. Think of it as good defaults on your MacBook or an iPhone. And there is one more thing ambitious people forget. Your system has to protect your life, not consume it. Because if your routine turns every evening into a guilt contest over all the things you didn't finish, then slowly your brain is going to push back, and then you're going to end up losing several days just trying to recover from that. That's not discipline, that's just intensity followed by collapse. The process has to leave enough room for all the maintenance parts of your life that keep it from falling apart. And it has to be something that you can return to after a bad week without having to reinvent yourself. I still have days when I come back home after work, do one chore like laundry, and then spend my whole evening and even night watching YouTube videos instead of doing the things that I planned. I still have nights when I prefer to play Minecraft and not think about anything. But the thing is, I don't need these days to stop happening. I need my system to work around and survive these days. Because the life you actually want is not built in the motivational burst. It's built in the boring return, coming back after a skipped workout or coming back after a lazy night. You don't need a more motivated version of yourself, you need a more repeatable version of yourself. Motivation starts the promise. Process keeps it when your mood disappears.